So today, let's look into variables. What are variables? Why do we need variables? And how data types helps us in creating the variables. Okay, so let's take this topic and let's work on this. So now as I told you yesterday, variable is what? Variable is nothing but which is going to store a value for us. If you have a value, as I said, program always works on data. Now, if a program has to work on data, it requires the data, right? So how we will be able to store the data? If it is available somewhere, then program will be able to use it and it will be able to do the operations. Now, where we should be able to store that data is nothing but we need variables to store this data. Now, if I have to store a value inside a variable, first what is the first step I need to do? First, I need to declare that variable. So how to declare a variable? After declaring, how we will be able to pass a value to that variable? Okay, let's see all these things. Okay, so variable is what? Variable is nothing but which is going to store a value for us. Okay, okay. So variable, it is a name given to a memory location actually. So how we are about to give the name to a memory location, and inside that memory, how we are able to store the data, we'll see. So it's a name given to a memory location for storing values. Okay. So let's say example, I have a value 10. Okay. Now I want this value to be stored in a variable. Now, if I have to store a value inside a variable, first what I should do, I need to declare a variable. Okay. So I need to declare a variable. So first of all, how to declare a variable? Let's see that. Okay, so the syntax for declaring a variable is you need to first tell what is the data type. Okay, you need to first mention the first part of variable declaration is first you need to tell what is the data type of it and followed by our variable name. Okay, so you can declare, let me tell you this. So it's nothing but we need to tell the data type and followed by the variable name. Here, var1 is nothing but the name of the variable. Okay, that's what I have written here. I have written it like this. It's a name given to a memory location for storing values. Now, if I have to store a value 10, now I need to declare a variable, right? So as I told, I have to declare the variable by mentioning its data type. If you mention the data type and followed by a name, then we can be able to store a value. Now, if I have to store a value 10, which is what? So 10 will be treated as which type of data type? It is treated as integer, right? So 10 is nothing but it's an integer value. Now to store a integer value, we need to declare a integer variable. So how to declare integer variable? Under integer category, we have how many data types? Under integer category, we have 4 data types. What are they? We have byte, we have int, so we have short, we have int, and we have long. Okay, now you can choose which or what is the range of your data type. Now 10 is what? 10 is a value which can fit in byte. 1 byte is sufficient for that. Now I am about to declare a variable of byte type. So that's the reason in the place of data type, what is that I have mentioned? Byte. Now I have to give a variable name to it. So what is the name I'm giving? Is nothing but A. So I have declared a variable by telling its type and its name. Now after doing this, what you can do? Just simply you need to use this equal to symbol and you have to pass the value to it. Okay, so byte A is equal to 10. Now what happens immediately is nothing but when I declare this variable inside the JVM, okay, there will be a memory that will be created, okay, of what? Of 1 byte because the data type will take this data type takes how much size? It's nothing but 1 byte. So once it is able to do this, okay, it is going to make this location pointed by this variable and it will take this value and it's going to place it inside this particular memory. Okay, so Once your JVM is able to process this whole line, it will take this, it will create a memory, and it will make this variable to point to that location, and the value it is going to take it and it is going to place inside that memory. Okay, so this is how generally the variable declaration, once you declare it, you can pass the value to it. Okay, so let's create few more variables. Okay, let's declare few more other variables like, so I can say byte of age. Okay, this is one variable which is of byte declaration. So you can store what? Once you declare a variable of certain type, then you can store the data of that category. You cannot store any other. Okay, for byte you need to pass integer value only. So which data type you have declared, you have to pass that category of data. You cannot pass some other category of data to the data type what you have declared. So similarly, let me declare one more variable. So variable of double salary. So what is salary here? Salary here is called variable name. Salary here is called as variable name, and we call this as what? Data type. So we have declared a double data type. Okay, salary of double. Now you can store what? A double, a floating point value. Okay, so you can store a floating point value. And similarly, let me declare one more. Char of gender. Okay, so and boolean of check. So as I told, boolean will be able to store what? Either you can store a false or true. Everything should be in case sensitive. All should be in smaller case. So only these two values can be stored in boolean. Here you can declare m, or you can declare f or something else, whatever the gender is, right? So this is how we generally pass the values to it. So but before passing values to the variables, the first thing we need to do is we need to declare the variable. Okay, so in Java, when we declare variables, so they will be not initialized. What is called as initialization? We need to understand that first. So what is initialization? What is initialization? So if you are passing value, okay, when we declare a variable and if it is not initialized with any value, then automatically, so it will be initialized with default values. So what is initialization here? Initialization is nothing but passing value to the variable for the first time. Okay, what is initialization? Passing value to the variable for the first time. We call it as what? We call it as initialization. Now, if you see here, so I have declared a variable, and what I did, I have passed a value 10 here. So I'm doing this what? I'm passing this value to this variable for the first time. So this we call it as initialization. Okay. So now what happens whenever you declare a variable and if you're not initializing, now if you see here, I see this. I have declared, but I have not initialized any value. Means I have not passed any value to this variable. So when we declare and when we don't pass any value, so that particular variable is automatically initialized with some default values based on the data type. What is it? Based on the data type, if you're not passing a value, if you're declaring a variable and if you're not passing a value, so those variables will be initialized with default values. Okay, so which category of variables will be initialized with which default values? We will see it in few minutes. Okay, so one second. So once you are able to understand this initialization, the second part we need to understand is what is variable assignment. What is variable assignment? Variable assignment is nothing but passing value variable from second time onwards. Okay. So from second time onwards, you can pass any number of times. If a variable is initialized with one value, and if you want to change it, you can change it any number of times. So initialization means passing value for the first time, and assignment is nothing but passing value to the variable from second time onwards. Okay. So basically, we also call it as changing the value of the variable. Okay. So assignment is nothing but variable assignment means changing the value of the variable, which is nothing but when will we change the value? Once we are able to initialize, from then, whenever you're trying to pass second value, it is nothing but we are changing it, right? So that's the reason from second time onwards, when we pass value to the variable, we call it as variable assignment. So changing the value for a variable, we call it as variable assignment. So when we can actually do the assignment, when we do declaration first and when we pass the value to it from second time onwards, we can do the variable initialization. For example, let's say I have a integer variable which is integer of type, so which is variable name is age and its type is integer. So I'm trying to do what? I'm trying to assign a value, initialize a value as 20. Now I wanted to change, okay, I wanted to change this. What I do, I will give 30 to it. Okay, so again I wanted to change, I wanted to give a value as 45. So now see this, I'm using the same age but I'm not repeating the data type here, which means that I'm reusing it. I'm using it, I'm trying to change the values. Previously it is 20, now it is 30. Again I'm trying to assign some other value, which means that what happens here in the first step, once this line is encoded by the JVM in the memory, it allocates a memory. So this is going to be 4 bytes. Okay, because integer size is what? Integer size is 4 bytes, right? So it is going to occupy a memory of 4 bytes in the JVM, and it makes this age variable pointed to this memory location. And initially, it is going to store a value 20. Now, what I did here to the same variable, see, I'm using the same variable name, and now I'm using the equal to and passing a different value. So it will remove this value from this memory, and it is going to put this 30 inside that memory. Now again, when I changed it, now this will be also removed and 45 is going to come into that location. Understood, right? So this is how we generally declare a variable, we initialize the variable, and we are going to do the assignment to the variable. Is it clear till here? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
One second. All right. Okay. Now we are able to see this value, right? In Java, values, we generally treat them as literals. Okay, we call them as what? Instead of calling them as values or instead of calling them as data or something, we call them as what? Literal. You can call them as value, data, anything. But in Java, usually we refer them using a term called as literal. So what is literal? What is literal? So a literal is a value that we store into the variable. Okay, so the value that we store into the variable, we call it as a literal. Okay, now, so what is that? Now, program requires to program, if a program wants to do any operation, what it needs? It needs data. Now, if we want to store a data, what we need? We need a variable. Now, if you have to store a value inside the variable, what is the first thing we need to do? We need to declare a variable. How to declare a variable? Mention the data type and tell the name of the variable. Okay. And once you do it, what is the next step we do? We are going to pass the value to it to the variable. So passing value to the variable for the first time is called as initialization. Okay, so passing value to the variable, we call it as initialization. So once you are able to pass a value to the variable, so what is the second thing we can do? We can do the assignment to it. What is assignment? Assigning is nothing but passing value to the changing value of the variable is nothing but we call it as assignment. Okay, so these are the different operations that we can do. Now, how you will be able to decide the data type? It's nothing but now which type of data you are holding. As we discussed in the earlier class, what is it we have discussed? What is the type of data we have and how the data is classified and which type of data is referred to which type of category. So we have seen that, right? Now you should understand. Like I have a data called as literal called as 10. Now if I have 10, so which type of data type will be able to make that value to be stored? So in under the integer category, you can take any of those four and you can make sure the data type is so and so. So if you have a Boolean value, sorry, yeah, if you have a true or false. Let's say you have a data as true or false, and you wanted to store the data inside a variable. Then what you should understand, you need to declare a variable of Boolean type. And I have a single character and I wanted to store it. So which type of variable you need? You need a char. Okay, you need a char data type to store that value, right? So in this way, we will be able to play with the variables. Okay, now later, what is the next step we have understood? The value that we pass to the variable, what we call it as? We call it as a literal. Okay, so we'll see about variables. Okay, there is a lot around we need to talk about variables. Okay, we'll see in the future classes again. Now, the next thing we need to understand is keywords. Okay, so what are keywords? So keywords are the predefined words or reserved words which are given by Java people. Okay, so which are used for what? To implement different Java concepts. Okay, so to implement different concepts what are there in Java, to implement them, we use these keywords. Okay, so they play a major role here. Okay, so basically with keywords, we generally will be able to form what? We'll be able to form sentences. Okay, so like tomorrow, if you want to write instructions, those instructions can be written through what? Through keywords. Okay, how we are able to write the instructions through keywords, we will see it. But to understand what is a keyword, keywords are predefined words, which means we are not mentioning this. These are already given by Java people only, and we'll be able to use them exactly. For each keyword has a meaning. So if I am if I'm declaring so and so keyword, and if I'm giving it to JVM to process it, JVM will be automatically, it will be able to understand what it should do with that keyword. When it encodes that keyword, what it has to do, it will have a predefined meaning to it. Okay, so keywords are nothing but keywords are the predefined or reserved words. So which are having what? Which are given by whom? Which are actually given by which are given by Java people itself. Means it is coming from Java. Okay. So what we do? We use it for implementing different Java concepts. So it is used to implement different Java concepts. What are these different Java concepts? We'll see it in future classes. Okay. Now in Java, how many keywords we have? We have totally 50 plus keywords in Java. Okay, in the latest versions, there are some more other keywords which are introduced. Okay, as we still didn't go there, that's the reason I'm just mentioning it as 50 plus. Okay, so in Java, how many we have? In Java, totally 50 plus keywords are available. Okay, so we will see all those keywords. Okay. So I can instead of writing all those keywords here. Okay, so we'll have situation where we have to introduce them. Whenever I introduce, I'll tell what is the purpose, what happens when you're using that keyword. So how your JVM is going to understand that keyword and what it is going to do after it is encountering that particular keyword. Okay, we'll see it accordingly. But just you need to understand that there is a concept called as keywords. They are nothing but a predefined words which are already given by Java people, and it is having a predefined meaning to the JVM. Okay, so how many we have? We have totally 50 plus keywords. Okay, and remember one thing, all keywords in Java are case sensitive. Okay, now I can tell you one of the keywords that we have covered till now. So we have seen whenever we are declaring a class, we have seen something called as class. We have seen this, right? The first keyword we have seen is class. So when I'm declaring this class, if you have observed, I have written every letter here as small letter only, case sensitive. Everything is small here. Now, if I write a class and if I have a class like this, okay, where C is the capital case. So if you write this way and if you write this way and if you're trying to declare a class, if you try to write like this, it is not going to treat this as a keyword. It is not written in the case what actual keyword that is coming from Java. So case sensitive. That's the reason you need to always make sure that you are always making sure the case is followed. Okay. So what is all the keywords in Java? They are case sensitive. Okay. You need to write every keyword in Java in lowercase. Don't write any word while you're declaring a keyword in uppercase. Everything should be in smaller case only. Okay. And each keyword is having what? Keyword is having its own meaning and purpose, that we never change it. Okay, we can never change the purpose of a keyword. Okay, there is a meaning and there is a purpose, right? That is already given by Java, right? That we can never change. Okay, so each keyword is having its own meaning. Each keyword is having its own meaning and purpose. Okay, so that we will never change, and we cannot change also. So it cannot be changeable. Okay, so that's about the keywords, right? Keywords are what? Predefined words or reserved words which are having a predefined meaning to the JVM. And whenever JVM encounters it, it is going to do according to the meaning that is given to the JVM by the Java people, right? They are case sensitive and there are more than 50 plus keywords in Java. And the meaning of those keywords cannot be changed by developer. Okay, so it can only be taken care by Java people. All right. So the next thing we need to understand is identifiers. I'm just introducing the concepts and I'm just trying to talk few things that you should be actually understanding about them. So there is a lot around these concepts actually. So we'll cover them whenever the situation comes. Okay. But as I said, you just try to remember their purpose. Whatever the purpose that is what I'm explaining at a basic level, just try to remember that. Okay. So now the next thing we have is identifiers. What is an identifier? A identifier is a name given to a class, method, or variable. Okay, so in generally in Java, what we'll have a class. Okay, so we have a class, we'll have variables, and we have methods. So we have already seen all these things. So we are able to write a class and we are able to write a method, main method, right? We have seen all that already that. And we also seen what is variable. Just now we have covered what is variable. Now, for a class or a method or a variable, if you have noticed, I'm always giving a name. So when I'm declaring a class keyword followed by I have given a name. So sample, app, calculator, something I have given after the class keyword. What is that? That is a name. So that name that I have given for this class can also be called as what? Identifier. So what is an identifier? Identifier is a name. For method, what is a method name that we have given? Public static void main. So what is the method name there? Method name is main. Okay, method name is what? Main. So main is the method name. So that method name is also treated as what? It can be treated as a identifier. And also just now we have covered. So what is that? Variable name, a variable data type followed by variable name. So this variable name can be treated as what? An identifier. So here age. Age is here, right? So this can be treated as what? Identifier. So what is an identifier? Name given to a class or method or variable. Okay, if you give a name to class or method or variable, it is called as identifier. Now, why do we want identifier? So identifier is used for the sake of identifying or accessing that in the application. Okay, now I should be able to access the class, accessing nothing but using it. So if I have to use it means I need to access it. So how I will be able to access it? How I will be able to use a variable? How I will be able to use a method? So I should be able to identify, right? To access it, I should be able to identify. So what helps here in identifying its name? So we call it as what? Identifier. So why do we need identifier? To identify, to identify and access. Once you identify, we will be accessing in the application. Okay. So in the application is nothing but inside the programs. Okay. So this is basically we call it as what? identifier. So example, so we have int is a data type followed by age, which is a name, okay, which can also be called as what? Identifier. Here, this is what we call this as a data type. So this can also be called as keyword. So when it encounters this, Java understands that this is a keyword, and its meaning is what? Its meaning is to store a integer value. So that is a predefined meaning that is given for this keyword int to the JVM by Java people. Now what is age here? Age is called as identifier, okay, and also called as variable name, can also be called as variable name. And what is this here? We call it as, we can call this as literal, or we can also call it as a value or data, whatever it is. But basically, this is the terms we use in referring them. Okay. So now let's write a program to demo on variables. Okay. Let's I'll write a class where this class is going to demo you on this variables. What are the variables that we have covered? So we'll just declare some variables and we are going to print those variables. Okay. Let's do that. So what is the class I wanted to take is, let me write it here. I wanted to write a program for what? To demo on variables. Let's see this. Let's take a scenario and let's try to work on this. So I want to take a class. So what is the class name I want to take is nothing but var demo. Okay, so I want to take var demo. So this is a keyword here. Okay, if you see this, this is a keyword. So to declare a class, what is it I'm using? I'm using a keyword called as class and I'm giving a name to this. So this is called as identifier. Okay, so now what I want here, I want a main method, because to do anything, always your JM will look for what in your program? It looks for the main method, and its syntax should be public static void main, which will take string array as an argument. Okay. Now, if you see this here in this is also called as what? We call it as a variable name, or you can call this as an identifier. And what is this here? This is a data type. We call this as a what? Data type. Okay. So, but we don't call this as a keyword here. Okay. We are not calling this string as a keyword, but what this can be called is nothing but we can call this as a class. Okay, so we'll see it. And what is this is going to represent? We'll see it in when we come to arrays. Okay, what is the symbol is going to represent? We're going to see it in the arrays class. But see, already we have from the initial day onwards, we are declaring a variable. What is that variable? String arguments, string array of arguments. So this is already we are seeing it from day one in the main method. Now, if you should be able to understand why we are using this in the main method. Okay, so now what is it I want to do here? I want to declare a integer variable which should take a value as 10. Okay, I want another value to be stored. So let me ask you this. I have a value called as 34.56. Can you guys tell me now, if I want this value to be stored in a variable, which data type I have to declare? Which data type I have to declare in order to store this variable? Can anyone tell me? You can type it in the chat. You can type it
Float.
in the chat. Yes, right. You can use float or you can use double. You can use anything. So I'm using a double here. So let me declare a double. So what is the first thing I have to tell? I need to tell the data type, followed by I need to provide the name, variable name, which can also called be as what? Which can also be called as identifier. Okay, so I want 34.56 to be stored in this. And again, I want this literal. Okay, I want to store this literal. So literal means nothing but value, right? So I have a value like this, single quote K. Now to store this value, what is that I need? Which data type I need? Which variable I need? Which data type based variable I need? A single character. I want to store a single character. Can anyone tell me?
Integer.
I have a single character. Yes, of course, characters can be stored in integers, but as we have covered the categories yesterday, in primitive data types, we have covered 4 categories, right? Integer, floating point, and we have
Floating,
covered.
charge, and boolean, right? In that we have
Right.
stored like byte or something.
Right. So which actually can fit this? So I have a single character means to store single character. Which data type will actually support this? What is the correct data type I have to take?
Byte, I think.
Not byte. Byte will store what? Byte can store, of course,
Eight,
byte can store this, but byte cannot store this if I have a single quote. You can pass a value like this to byte, but you cannot pass a single quote like this. So if you're passing a single quote and if you're giving a value between the single quote, at that time this value can be passed to a particular variable, which a particular data type that which is nothing but char. Remember this? I told you. So char is the
अच्छा, only
variable
one
which
data type is a cat.
single character. Single character. Now K is a single character, right? I'm not using A, B, C, right? I'm just using a single character. If you have a single character, then single character should be stored using a variable data type called as char. Okay. So, but remember, if you are passing a value to the char, always you need to pass it using the single quotes. Don't forget about this single quotes. You need to pass the value using the single quotes. Now, let me ask one more. I have a value called true. So to store this literal, which data type I need? Which variable data type I need?
Boolean, na?
Yeah, perfect. We need a Boolean. Boolean data type followed by variable name or identifier name. Identifier. So Boolean followed by, let me say, true. Got it? So this is how generally we will be able to declare variables. Now I have declared this sorry, I have created actually. So I have missed one thing in variables. So we have covered what is variable initialization and we have covered what is variable assignment. So there is also called as variable creation. What is variable creation? If you are able to declare and if you are able to pass value to it, this whole part we call it as variable creation. Okay, when I say variable, create a variable means you should be able to declare the variable. So this is declaration and when you should also pass the value. So if you're doing all these things, then it is called as variable creation. Okay, so don't get confused with that. Just remember like what it is. Okay, so I have created how many variables here? I have created totally 4 variables. One is of integer type and its name is A. Another is double type, its name is B. And another one is char, which name is CH. And other one is Boolean and its name is D. So we have totally how many identifiers in this class? Tell me everything from class onwards. I just explained you what are identifiers, right? What are identifiers? What are identifiers? Try to participate so that you will be able to you will be able to digest the concept. What are identifiers? We just covered. What are identifiers? Identifier is what? Anyone? It's okay if you are going to say it wrongly also, that's fine. But try to say. If you start speaking, then it will be understandable to everyone. What are identifiers? Okay, at least I will help you. What is an identifier? Identifier is a name given to a class, method, or variable. What is it? Identifier is a name given to a class, method, and variables. All right. Now, let me ask you this. Now, can you identify what are all the identifiers that are there in this class till now? So, till whatever we have written. So, in this, can you tell me totally how many identifiers we have? If you want, I can give you a multi choice. So, I would say 10. Okay, so 20. I would say 7, 30. So can you tell me how many variables we have? How many identifiers we have in this class? Anyone? So you can tell me your answer. So I have given a multi choice here, multiple choice. Whether it is 10 variable, 10 identifiers we have here, we have 20 variables we have here, 20 identifiers we have here, 7 or 30. How many you have? Anyone can me answer me? How
4.
many identifiers we have? How many? You can count actually. If you are able to identify what is a variable, if you are able to identify what is a method, and if you are able to identify what is a class, okay, as I told you, what is identifier? Identifier is a name given to a class, method, and variable, right? Now, can you tell me what are variables? and what are the names that I have given, what are methods, what is the name I have given to it, and what is the class, and what is the name I have given to it. If you can identify them and you can take those names and you can treat them as identifiers, you can tell me the answer. And you can count them totally how many are there and you can tell me. How many identifiers are there within this class? Whatever the code we have written till now from class to this Boolean. So how many identifiers we have? I have given a multi-choice here, 10, 20, 7, 30. Which one is correct? Any answer? Pick just any answer, that's fine. Tell me what is that answer? 10 or 7 or 30 or 20? Anyone? No problem, tell me. If you say it wrongly also, that's fine because you are still at initial classes only, right? To make you understand well, I'm asking this question. So whatever that comes to your brain, you can tell me. So based on that, I'll be getting a chance to explain it in a different way and it will be understandable to others also. If I just keep on saying and if you're not able to make you think about it, it will not go into your head. That's the reason I'm just trying to make it an interactive class. Can someone, anyone, take the initiation? Don't worry, guys. No
20.
one actually. Okay, someone said it as 20. So can you tell me how it is 20? Which you have considered for saying it as 20? What are all the things that you have considered to say it as 20? I mean, how you
I'll
have
first
derived it,
take
basically.
A and then I will take the value of 10. So I counted
Okay.
like 3, then 3,
Okay. Okay.
then it will be like 34. So 6.
Okay. Uh-huh. 34,
These are
10.
5
So,
and this 4.
so you mean to say you're counting this and this? Mean to say you're
Uh,
considering this and this as 1 and 2,
uh,
and this as 3 and 4, and this as uh 5 and 6. This and this as, is this
uh,
how you're considering?
yes, yes.
So which means 8. So I just asked you how many identifiers are there here? How many identifiers do you have? And again, I'm repeating it. Identifier is a name given to a class, given to a
Class.
method, given to a variable. Okay. So any name that we have given to a class, method, and variable, we call them as identifiers. And identifier is used for identifying. It's just used for identifying and accessing the value, or accessing the class or method or variable. Anything that helps us to access that, we call it as an identifier. So here the answer is 7, not 10, 27, or 30. What is it I'm saying? The name given. So can you tell me what is this class name? Anyone? Can you tell me what is the class name here? What is the name of the class?
Where I will,
Yes, var demo. Okay. So what I mentioned
Where
identifier as, yeah. So what is it I have
class
mentioned
method.
identifier as? The name given to the class, method, and variable, right? So I have given a name to this class, and the name of the class is what? Var demo. So
Demo.
this is 1. And so I have declared a method. Okay, so you may not be able to identify this, but beside the parenthesis, whatever is there, that we consider as a name of the method. So forget about all these things now because I have not told you about how to declare a function and all those things, right? Forget about all these things. But see this one. So what is the name of this method means? What you will tell? You should be able to tell this as main method. Okay. So now how I will be able to access this method using this name? How I am identifying using the name of it. So can I call this as an identifier? Yes. So with this, how many I have? 2 identifiers. Okay, so that is the name of the method. As I mentioned, name of the class, name of the method, and name of the variables. Right. So can I treat this as a variable? Can I treat this as a variable? String array of arguments. Can I say this as a variable? So it is having a data type and it is having a name. So it is looking like the declaration of a variable, right? So can I treat this as a variable? Yes, we can treat that as a variable because what is variable declaration? Data type followed by variable name. Yes, it is having a data type. But the data type is not the data type what we have covered in the primitive types. But data types, we have so many other, there are other two categories also, right? What are the other types we have? Derived data type and we have user-defined data type. So in data types, how many we have? We have totally three primitive data types, and we have derived data types, and we have
Yes.
user-defined data types. Remember them, right? So under this goes to derived data type. Okay, so primitive we have seen. Now in this way, if you see that this is treated as a data type only. So can I say this as a variable? Yes, you can say it as a variable because this is having a data type followed by variable name. So with this, we have three identifiers here. How many identifiers? Three. So that is also name only, right? Now here, after that, so we have a variable called as integer a, which is holding a value 10. So what is this here? I have given the name to this variable as a. Only this is considered as an identifier. So this is what? This is a value. It is a literal. Literal is not an identifier. Literal is a value. Data type is not a identifier. It's a data type, which is having which is actually a keyword, which is having a meaning to the Java. Okay. So with this, what? How many we have? We have four. So this one with this, how many we have? This is also variable name. So this can be counted as 5. And we have a variable here, 6. And we have variable name here, right? So all these only these names we have to treat. So I have mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Only these are considered as identifiers. So totally how many identifiers we have in this particular class? We have totally 7. So 7 is the right answer. You understood now what is an identifier? Is it clear now? If people are able to understand what is an
Yes,
identifier?
yes.
Okay, it's just a name. Don't consider everything. Just you have to consider the name only, not everything. Okay, not the value. Value is different here again. Right. So now let's write this class here. Okay. Let's try to write this class. Let's program it and let's print all those values. Now, anyone can help me in printing these values? What is it I have to use? Which statement we have to use in order to print the values? If I
System
want to
dot out
print.
dot println.
Perfect. Okay. We need to use a statement called as system dot out dot println. Okay. Just pass the variable. So I want to print a means just pass the variable to the system.variable. Like this, repeat the system.out for printing all the other variables. Now let's try to write this class, okay? And let's see whether it is able to display the values to us or not, okay? Let's try to write this. Let me go to some location. Let me go here and let me open my editor. Okay, the editor, what I'm using is Sublime Test. Okay. For you in Windows, when you right click here, it will give you an option called as new, and you can select file, right? In Windows. So once you click on that, okay, once you give a name and once you click on that, it will be opened in, it will ask you to open with what? Which editor, whether with Notepad or Notepad++, right? So that is how we basically do it in what? In Windows. Okay. So in a similar way, I'm using a Sublime Test here. This is something like editor only. So this gives me a facility to actually create a file here and I can save it in any location. Okay. So simply I'm clicking what I will click on new file. It will open up a file for me. And let me start writing the class. Let me start writing the class. What is the class name? Can you tell me?
What demo?
Yeah, variable demo. So I need to open the flower bracket. I need to close the flower bracket. And remember, everything in Java, you need to write in between these flower brackets only, apart from packages and imports. If you have package statements and if you have import statements, that can go above the class, but remaining everything has to come where? Within the class only. Don't write anything outside the class, because if you write like that, you're going to get a syntax error. Okay, your compiler is going to throw a error. Now, what is it I want? For executing this class, I want a method, and that method syntax should be public static void main, which is going to take a string array with args as a identifier name to it. Again, open curly flower bracket and close flower bracket. And whatever you wanted to do, this method has to do, it has to be written inside this open and close flower bracket only. Now, what is it I want to do? I want to declare variables and I wanted to print them. Okay, so now I wanted to print what? A integer value. Okay, So I'm declaring a variable of type integer and I'm naming it as a, which is nothing but we call it as an identifier. So what is the value I'm passing to it? 10. I want another variable which has to hold a value called as 34.56, which is a decimal, right? So we can declare double D, okay, and let me say 34.56. So I'm able to store a decimal value. Okay, and I want a single character to be stored, for which I'm creating what? I'm creating a char variable and I'm trying to store a value called k in it. Single character. It will take only single character. Now you cannot give characters like this. You can only pass one character. Don't pass multiple characters. If you have a single character and that has to be stored means, then you have to go for using a char variable. Okay. And lastly, I want to store a Boolean value, for which I'm saying Boolean b is equal to true. Remember all this, you need to give it in double quotes. And while you're passing the value, this value is a predefined value. Like how we have keywords, we have predefined literals also in Java, in which true is a predefined literal in Java. And this is a case sensitive. All letters should be in smaller. Now I wanted to print this. What is it I have to do? I need to use the statement called as system.out.println. And let me print. Let me say this is int value, int variable. Int variable. And what is the variable? So why I'm writing this is nothing but this is going to act as a string. Okay. In Java, how we have other values. Similarly, we have a value data called as string, and string is represented within double quotes. And whatever you represent in this string, it will print it as it is. Now to this, I'm trying to append what a value called a. Okay, for appending any variable value to the string, we have to use this particular symbol, which is nothing but which is called as plus, which is called as appending symbol here. This plus acts as a appending. So to this existing string, okay, the value that is there in this variable will be appended. Okay, so this is how we generally append the values. Now let me write this statement for 4 more times, and let me also print the other variables. Okay, let me also print other variables. So what are the other variables we have? We have D, and
So we
we have,
can't write directly like int a
sorry.
after I int variable is there, right?
Right.
So we can't write like int a
Yeah, you
system
can
dot
write.
out dot
This is
println.
for our understanding. You don't need to
Okay.
write this. You know, actually, this is not at all required. You don't need to write this. You can directly pass the variable. So why
A
I'm writing this
then
statement?
D.
Sorry.
Okay, but that's the
Yeah. Just for the sake of our understanding, I'm just writing some statement to look in the console. While looking at the console, you should be able to understand that value is what, right? While we're printing, we should be able to read it. That's the reason just I'm trying to write some sentence which will give some meaning for you to understand that in the console. That's it. So I'm saying this as an integer variable. I'm saying this is a double variable, and we can say it as a char. No need of all these things. Just for our understanding, we are writing it like this. And this is what? A Boolean. So this is int, this is int variable, and its value is this. This is double variable, and its value is this. This is char variable, and this is its value is this. Okay, so and this will be printed as it is. You can see in the console now. So we are able to write this class, right? Now save this. How to save this? You can say Control S. So it will ask you to name it. So I'm naming the name of the class as whatever the name I have given to the class. So for the class, I have given a name as var demo, variable demo. So I'm giving it in the same. And here I'm just trying to save it in some location. Just I'm giving this here. And don't forget to give the extension. And in Windows, remember that even though if you're giving the extension as .java, still there will be a .text that will be appended to it. You people know about this? So always when you create a text file inside Windows, it will be created with an extension called as .txt. And by default in Windows, the extensions will be hidden. Okay, so by default, the extensions will be hidden. You will not be able to see the hidden part, the extension. So what you will do, you'll just say that where class name followed by, you will give .java. But still, as the extension is hidden there, you will be still able to see this when you are going to show it. So you know how to overcome this problem? You people know that? Like we in Windows at the top, we'll have a section called as view. Okay, inside that, if once you open that, you will in the right, you will be able to see an option called as show extensions. If you click on that button checkbox, then you will be able to see the extension. Now, sometimes you people might be writing this, and as the extension .txt is still there, it will be not treated as a Java file, and when we are trying to execute, it will be not executed by the JVM. So we have written already first program. If you people have already written that and if you have executed it, and if you're not facing any problem, if you're able to see the output, then there is no problem for your code. But any other people, I mean, if you're not able to execute it and if you're seeing an issue, and this could be an issue that would be there in your computer. So you need to make sure that that is eliminated, that is removed by opening up the show hidden. So if you have any problem with this, okay, you can connect me afterwards. I'll be able to help you to solve this. Okay. So I'm hoping that you have already written the first Java program. And I also am hoping that you have installed your Java inside your machine. If you still haven't done, please do it, okay? Because there is a lot that will come, and once everything comes as an hectic work to you, you'll be not able to do, and you will get bored, and you will feel confused, and you will feel like moving out of Java. So don't make a situation to go till that extension. Okay, just try to correct yourself and try to do everyday activity on the same day itself, and try to practice the same things every day, so that it becomes easy for you. So program will not become a hectic thing for you, and you'll be able to understand, and you'll be able to continue in Java, not just Java, any programming. Okay, so this is what you have to do. I'm just doing what? I'm making sure I'm giving the .java extension to this class, and I'm just saving this. So now see this, previously we are not able to see any colors here. Now I'm able to see this is now considered as a Java file. So that is stored where? Here. Now I want what? I want to go to this location, for which I need to open my console. So I have opened my console. Now I am there in the folder called as day 3, and I want to go back because I wanted to go to a different folder called as day 5, for which what I have to do, I just wanted to go one folder back, for which I have to use a command called as cd dot dot. So it takes me to the before folder. Okay, it is taking me to the before folder. Just one folder, it takes me before. Now I want to go forward. I have to use what? CD followed by the folder name which you want. I want to go to day 5. So if you see here in this, I have my class. What is the class I have written? Where demo.java. Just execute it. If we don't have any problem with the code, the compiler will execute it and it is going to create a dot class file. So now dot class file is created, right? Let's try to execute it. How to execute it? We need to use JVM. So the command Java followed by where demo. Don't give the extension. Without giving the extension dot class, we just know we should only mention the class name and let's execute it. Now you'll be able to see the output. See, whatever I have written the double quotes, it is printed as it is. Int variable and its value what? 10. Double variable and its value is what? This. So I have defined a character, right? Okay, it is true. It is displayed here. So we're able to see this, right? So you understood, right?
Yes.
Just how these variables are printed. So I didn't print the value for your information. Did I print the value? No, right? I'm printing the variable. So if I'm printing the variable, what is the value that is there in the variable is getting printed, not the variable A. See here, value is printed. Got it? So that is about variables. You understood, right? Everyone, if people are able to understand. So what we have covered now today, we have covered
Yes.
what is a variable. So how to declare a variable, right? How to, 1 second. What is a variable? So, and what is initialization? Okay, what is variable assignment? Okay, and what is called as literal? What are keywords? Okay, and later we have seen what are identifiers. Okay, and after that we have just taken a demo to display to demo you on variables. So we have created some variables and we have tried to print them. Okay, so this is what we have covered for today. So tomorrow we will see the rules of identifiers. What are the rules that we have to follow while we are writing identifiers? What are identifiers again? The name given to a class, variable, and method They are called as identifiers. Now, when we are giving names to those components, we cannot give the name as we want it. We need to follow certain rules and we need to define that identifier. So what are those rules and recommendations that we need to follow while we are giving name to a class or a variable or a method? That we will see it in tomorrow's class. So you people are able to follow, right? Till here?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'll send this to the program as well as these notes. Okay. Try to complete this. And if you're facing any issues, please post that in the group. Okay. I'll help you. Okay. But don't make your job difficult by just postponing the things if you're not able to do them. Okay. It will become burden again for you. So try to complete your day-to-day activities. Okay. And it will become easy for you in the future classes. You will not feel any difficulty in understanding them. All right, guys. So it is for we are done for today now. If you have any questions, you can ask me, or otherwise we can wind up. Any questions, guys? Anyone is having any question? You can ask me. No questions?
No.
All right then. Okay. So okay. So you are able, some of them have chatted. Okay. All right then. Okay. Let's wind up and let's catch up tomorrow. And make sure that you complete this task. And if you're having any issues, please get back. Okay. Don't wait for, like as I said, don't wait for future classes. Don't make your job difficult. So thank you guys. We'll catch up tomorrow. And we'll have class 6 days a week. Okay. So on Sunday we'll have on Sunday we'll not have a class. So every day, every week we'll have from Monday to Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, on Sunday, if required in the future, I may take classes on Sundays because if you think that if you are lagging with the syllabus and if you wanted to complete a bit early, then I'll try to take classes on the Sundays. Otherwise, we'll have 6 days for a week. Okay. And there is a class for tomorrow. Is it okay for you to take class tomorrow, everyone?
Yes.
No problem, right? Everyone. You can say yes in the chat. No need to answer. You can say just yes in the chat. Is it okay, guys? You can say yes. Okay. One yes, two. Only two people responded. What about others?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, then let's have a class tomorrow, the same time. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. We'll catch up tomorrow. Bye.